Morning, morning, morning. It is Thursday. It is the 2022 version of March the 17th. Wow, it's St. Patrick's Day. And it's the day before my 38th birthday. How's everybody doing this morning? What a beautiful day. Spring might finally be here. The clouds have gone. The sun is bronzing my chubby cheeks. And we're here to do the Spurs review from last night, as we got all 3 points at the Amex Stadium against a sprightly Brighton team. I wouldn't find an adjective more complimentary than that. They weren't great. A couple of good players in their team, but very good players, very good performances as well. But we're not here to talk about them too much. We're here to talk about us. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, I've got to remind you where you are. You're at the Spurs Talk Show. You can find me, Sean Butler, at Spurs Talk Show on Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube. And if you wouldn't mind doing me a little favour, on the count of 3, this time we're going to go down. Would you hit the like button for me? Would you? Doesn't take a second for you, but it means the world to the algorithm, which then means the world to me. If you don't mind, hit the like on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Bugsy, where's the ball? I think we lost the ball already. This isn't a good start. Always try to make these things one continuous stream. Oh no, she's got the ball. It's okay. No need to break anything down. Right, let's start with the game. 2-0 to Tottenham. 3 points in the bag. Arsenal lost. Couldn't have gone better last night for our dwindling, flame-flickering top 4 hopes. And it was a frustrating start to the game, wasn't it? First half an hour, you know, Tottenham were just same old Tottenham, struggling to break down the low block of a very dogged and frustrating, I've just used that adjective, suffocating Brighton and Hove Albion side, who really were just sitting back and then letting their man Trossard go to town, who, by the way, very decent player. I like him a lot. Probably wouldn't cost a fraction of the money that some of the other talent out there would cost. And I like him. But more about him later. Maybe not today. More about him another time. Tottenham. We finally broke them down. Finally broke them down around the 38-minute mark, I think it was. So important, right? If you're playing against a team with the low block, and you don't break them down early in the game or in the first half, every minute that the game goes on is a minute that they build in confidence, and we build in nerves jittering and confusion and you know, just general bad energy. So it was very fortunate that we managed to break them down in the first half, and after that happened, the game opened up. And then, you know, in the second half, with a lot more space, players like Harry Kane come alive and start smashing 30, 40-yard balls with pinpoint accuracy and pinpoint weighting into the feet of people like Sergi Reguilon, et al. Overall, we got the job done. I won't say it was a tip-top performance. I don't think it was. But you know, some players play really well, and we're going to go through them now. I think Hugo Laurice, you know, you have to give him like a 6 out of 10 purely because he had nothing to do. He didn't have a single save to make. The only time the ball hit his hands was when he was picking it up after one of Mopé's lofty shots that go 20 yards over the bar. I swear to Christ, I think he thinks he's playing rugby or Gaelic football or something. It's a weird player, a lot of talent, but zero composure. And if it wasn't for him It could have been maybe a different outcome because they did have chances. But, you know, the only thing you can really comment on Hugo Laurice was on his distribution, and, you know, pretty poor again. Certainly in the first half we were too slow. Looking at the back three, personally for me, I thought they all played very well. Eric Dier was amazing in the first half, going down early with that head injury. Looked very innocuous at the time, but he got bandaged up. There's a horse having a sleep. Come on, mate. Nearly lunchtime. Lazy horse. Where was I? Yeah, but Eric Dier I thought was fantastic. He put that bandage on and he came back like a man possessed, heading everything out. It was phenomenal. I thought Ben Davies was phenomenal. You know, he broke down all of when Trossard got the ball. Trossard likes to pick the ball up on the left and then kind of make his way with the ball across the right hand side. And when he would deliver the ball out to Veltman, every time Veltman or Gross would be whipping that ball in, Ben Davies was there, front post, to block it and clear the ball very effectively. I thought his distribution was good. And generally I thought Davies had a really good game. He made some good offensive moves as well with the ball at his feet, bringing the ball out from deep in our own half towards the halfway line. So I'm going to give Ben Davies a 7.5. I did think he was really good. I don't think you can give him an 8, but he's certainly better than a 7. So if you don't mind us going into fractions, then we're going to go for 7.5 for Davies. Same for Eric Dier. I thought was a 7 out of 10. He wasn't as involved as Ben Davies, in my opinion, or Romero. But what he did have to do, he did very well with his heading, clearing most or all of the danger. And it was a pretty comfortable night for him, apart from his cut on his head in the first early 5 minutes or whenever that was. Romero, not enough plaudits. I mean, he got his first goal, which immediately puts him up to an additional half a point. I thought he was solid again, really solid, bringing the ball out, you know, trying to do long passes. I think he was fairly successful with his long pass accuracy from memory, looking at the stats last night. And I thought he was great, and I'm really super pleased for him that he got his goal, albeit, you know, there's jokes, it's the Puskas Award on Twitter, but he didn't know much about it. I think he just kind of grazed against his shin, but was enough to put the ball in the back of the net. And it was great to see Kulusevski celebrate it with him, letting everybody know that it was him who got the final touch, and deserves his name on the score sheet. The only thing about Romero, once again, is his propensity to smash somebody when it's unnecessary. He's a red card waiting to happen. I think unless he calms down. I know he's 23, but at 23, you know, like playing at the level he's played at 23, you know, I think I should have kind of shaken a lot of that stuff out of you. It's not like he's 19. He's been a professional now for 5 years, so I feel like he just loves hurting people. He's a pain merchant, you know, and that's okay, but you know, I just feel like there's red cards waiting to happen, and I think he's on 8 yellow cards now, so 2 more yellow cards and he will get a suspension. I believe that's the rule, right? In the second half of the season, if you get to 10 yellow cards, then you miss a game. So I think that's going to have to happen at some point. You know what happened when he gets after he got his yellow card for that nasty challenge, that 2-footed challenge, that once again another referee on a different day could have probably seen it in a different light, but 3 minutes later Cucurella winds him up, or when they clash, and goes in to try and get a reaction from him, and he almost reacted, and it was only for Eric Dier that just ran in and pulled Romero away, said like don't do it because you're on a yellow, which is another reason why Eric Dier had a good game. You know, thinking about that kind of thing, it's important that we have some cool heads and composure. We're gonna walk back, go a different way. Come on, Bugs, this way. So yeah, and look, you know, it wasn't just then as well. A little bit after that, he got in a tussle with Cucurella, went into him. And this is the thing about this Romero. I've said it a few times now. Not only is he dangerous upon himself, just because he loves to smash people, but I think other teams are very quickly going to wise up and target him, push him, wind him up, you know, try and go after him, niggle away at him. And I think Cucurella did a really good job of trying to do that last night. And it was really good that Romero didn't. As the game wore on, I think he knew he couldn't react. And so I just wish that, you know, I hope that he can figure that stuff out, because it's not going to be long before you know, someone's going to wind him up just enough to get a red card, and that could really put paid to a lot of plans that we have for the rest of the season. Who's next? Reguilón and Doherty. Well, look, you know, most of the action was down the right hand side. I'm mentioning this now because I think it's important when I come to review somebody else in a moment. Most of the action was down the right, with Kulusevski getting by far more touches than, say, Sonny, and Doherty getting, you know, a lot more touches than Reguilón. I think Doherty had like 75 touches of the ball. And I thought he was busy again. I thought he had a good game. Certainly wasn't his best of late. Bugs, where's your ball? Oh, well done. Certainly wasn't his best game, but it wasn't a bad game. He was busy enough. And there was lots of these kind of long attempts to spray passes left and right. And I thought, you know, from the opposite centre-back, Davies peppering him, and Romero trying to pepper Reggie, and I thought that Doherty had a solid game. No, didn't set the world on fire, but it was okay. If I'm honest, I thought the disappointment was down the left-hand side last night. I thought Reggie was pretty weak. Like, he could have ran at Veltman. So many times we got the ball, and you know Reggie's faster than Veltman by, like, you know, 2 or 3 times faster. Like, it's not even close. And Reggie has the ball, and Veltman's stepping off of him, you know, trying to do the low block. But there's still a lot of space behind, and rather than trying to do like a kick and run or anything like that, he always just brought it back in and passed it back. And then we did the movement from Davies across to Dier and Romero, and the whole thing was slow in the first half. And I think that if we're going to find a way to break down these low block teams successfully more frequently, we're just going to need people like Reguilón to put on the boosters, because there was space behind Veltman, but he didn't take it. It was odd. I don't know. I mean, we know how fast he is when he hasn't got the ball, but the ball, like, he's trying to get onto the end of something, because we saw that 2 or 3 times in the second half when Kane was smashing those 40-yard balls through. But in the first half, with the ball at his feet, I think it's a different story, with confidence and being able to run with it. Obviously, he's not a dribbling specialist, I know that, but you know, there's dribbling under close control, and then there's just whack the ball past someone and then turn on the afterburners, and he didn't do it. Frustrating. Sonny, I thought, was really poor. Not really poor, actually. I know he was involved in the first goal, but apart from that, he was anonymous the whole time. I think he only had like 25 touches, and it's not enough. It's not enough. Especially after Conte said in the pre-match press conference that there was he was undroppable, right? And I get it, because he does contribute more goals and assists alongside Kane than anybody else. But in terms of, hang on 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Try and make these things one stream, but it's only been about 10 seconds past. But just had to get my dog away from 2 other dogs. Look, Conte said that Sonny was undroppable, and whilst I agree with that to an extent, I appreciate the rationale for it. I'm really glad that whilst he thinks he's undroppable, he's not unsubbable. You know, Josh, the Tottenham guy, and myself, who were doing my stream, were both saying this game needs Bergwijn or Moura to come on. Sonny looks just out of sorts. His first touch let him down, just wasn't involved in the game, and when he was, apart from the first goal, apart from that, there wasn't too much else to really remember about his performance. And at the same time though, he's still waiting until the 80th minute, you know, to take him off. Like I say, I'm glad that he's subbable now, but I still think that there needs to be a bit more respect shown to the talents of Bergwijn and Moura, and a little bit more acknowledgement of the dip in form that Sonny has. And giving these other players 10 minutes, or in the case of Bergwijn, 2 minutes, you know, you can make a case to say it's a little bit disrespectful to them. And look, Bergwijn's 2 best performances this season came against, obviously, Leicester and that little 5-minute cameo, and then but the West Ham game was when he was really, I thought, on form. His first kind of game back, West Ham in the Carabao Cup. And we're playing them on Sunday. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments, whether you agree that Sonny, you know, was poor as I thought he was, or whether you think he was fine. I don't know. And if you don't think he was okay, would you be on board with the idea of him being dropped for Bergwijn or for Moura for the West Ham game? You know, competition for places is important. There needs to be an ethos of meritocracy at the centre of any team environment. If people have their place regardless of how they perform, I don't think that sends the right message to that person, and I don't think it sends the right message to the people who are backups, you know. And I think the very best managers should encourage a competitive environment, that if you're good enough you get your place, and you only lose your place if there's a reason to. When the next guy comes in, if he turns it on, then it's his until he doesn't anymore. And I don't think that we've got that in certain positions at Tottenham, understandably, for sure, but I think that Son's performances over this year have been poor enough to justify this swap out, I think. But I know it's a divisive topic, so let me know what you think. Who else? Harry Kane. Well, look, got his goal. Second half was a different player, chalk and cheese, right? Harry Kane was, in the first half, was anonymous. He was trying to get involved and couldn't. Much like most of the front guys, couldn't really find their foot in the game. As soon as we went 1-0 up, then Brighton come out, right? Brighton come out and go after it, and that allows a bit more space in the midfield, a bit more time on the ball, and then Harry Kane's just looking up and just finding these delicious, delectable passes. The distribution with his right foot last night was something to behold. You know, you can see why he's one of the best in the world at the moment. Scored a great goal, although it's weird because their goalkeeper Sanchez was playing like a sweeper keeper in the first half. You know, made 2 or 3 complete balls ups. One to Harry Kane, where Harry Kane guessed right and then couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. I'm interested to know what you guys think about that, actually. Was that a big miss from Harry Kane? Should he have done better? It was quite an acute angle. It was quite far away, but there wasn't really much pressure on him. It was an open goal, so would you expect someone of Harry Kane standards to put that in? Would you expect somebody of not Harry Kane standards to be able to put that in? I thought it was a tough angle, but a lot of people seem to be saying that, you know, it's a absolute open goal, a sitter. I didn't think it was quite as simple as that, personally. Anyway, goalkeeper made that mistake, came out and tried to be clever. He did it 2 or 3 other times. Did it to Kulusevski. Kulusevski gets hit. You know, oh no, that wasn't him, was it? That was sorry, that was the goal. That was the defender, wasn't it? Shane Duffy. But he did come out a couple of times, and then the one time when the ball was so far in front of Harry Kane, he decided to stay on his line. It was very odd behaviour from Sanchez. Could have had a hat-trick, Harry Kane, because he had the one that he missed, He had the one that he scored, and I think there was another one, but he also had that fourth shot, that curler, in late on. Oh, and the penalty. I mean, what was that? The penalty. There was the most stonewall penalty on a replay that I've ever seen. What is the purpose of VAR? What is the purpose of it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. That is a glaring, obvious error from the referee, and the VAR took about 2 seconds to look at it and say, nah, no problem there. It was absolute shambles yet again. And you know what? That the game might have been over. It might be 2-0, but it doesn't matter. Even if it's 9-0, and that happens in the 97th minute, if it's a pen, it's a pen. And that one goal may be the difference when it comes to our net goal difference between us and Arsenal, or us and United, or us and West Ham or Wolves, when it comes to trying to get into 4th, 5th or 6th spot at the end of the season. So, disgrace, absolute fucking disgrace that was. How long have I been going for here? Oh, I don't know, because I just stopped the video again, didn't I? Wells. Hi, mate. What else have I got to say to you guys? Kulusevski, I thought he was fantastic again. Another assist. And what does that mean? He's now got more goals and assists in his 6 Premier League games than Lo Celso had in 55. I mean, I think we've got such a player. You know what? It's not just his vision. It's not just his ability to look up, observe, digest the scenario and then pick the right thing, whether that is to hold on to the ball and dribble, to pass it, to cross it, or to shoot. And he's capable and comfortable doing all of the above. But I noticed it before, but what's compounded last night was the fact that he is also so strong. He can hold off 2 or 3 players. He can hold off 2 or 3 players in possession of the ball and come away with the ball in more times than not. It's absolutely phenomenal to see. My dog's going crazy. doing laps. This is madness. Yeah. What else? Bentancur last night. I might have to reshape this thing so I can talk about it in the right angle. Bentancur, I thought he was really good. I thought he didn't have the best game against Manchester United, but I thought he had a much better game last night. The only thing about Bentancur that frustrates me is sometimes he's so casual and cool on the ball that when it works, it looks like he's just mesmerical, right? It looks like he's just, I don't care who's around me, I'm just going to do like little pullbacks and tricks and come away with the ball. But it all too often in the last couple of games, he's tried it, held onto the ball 2 or 3 seconds too long, ended up being dispossessed. It happened again 2 or 3 times last night. It happened against Manchester United more times than that. And so it's not the perfect performance by him by any stretch. He needs to distribute the ball a little bit quicker, because he was guilty of not only doing those things but slowing the game down a little bit too much in the midfield. But all in all, I thought he was really good. The pass for the second goal I thought was superb. And Bugsy, come here! Ah! Here! And his link-up play with Kulusevski as well is just out of this world, and with Kane. So, yeah, another good performance from him. And how am I going to score them all, guys? I think that's basically everybody. I'm going to go Hugo Laurice a 6. I'm going to give Romero an 8. I'm going to give Dier a 7. Davies a 7.5. I'm going to give Reguilon a 6. I'll give Doherty a 7. I'll give Højbjerg. Oh, Højbjerg again last night was phenomenal. Sorry, I forgot all about Højbjerg. He was classy again. Like he stepped up. He's really, really good with Bentancur. I like it a lot. The partnership's working well. I still think we need to improve on the baseline of the midfielders in the summer, but you know what, if those 2 can stay injury free, and even ideally Oliver Skip comes back before or after the international break, then I think we can be competitive in midfield against the rest of the teams we've got to play, as long as Højbjerg and Bentancur can keep this form up. Højbjerg was great, so I'll give him an 8. I'll give Bentancur a 7 just because of the mistakes that he was making, the dawdling on the ball and getting dispossessed unnecessarily. I'm going to give Sonny a 5. I would have given him a 4 if it wasn't for the fact that he was involved in the first goal. I thought he was anonymous apart from that. Maybe a 5.5. Certainly was the worst player on the Tottenham team again for me. I'll give Kane a 7, because on the night he could have had a hat-trick. Should have had a hat-trick. Still got the 1 goal. He's broken the away record from Wayne Rooney, away goal scoring record from Wayne Rooney, so congratulations to him. And I'll give Kulu a 7.5 as well. So for me, the man of the match has to be Cristiano Romero. That's it for me, guys. Please like, share and subscribe. And we've got lots more stuff coming up this week. I'm not going to be at the game. I am going to be at the game on Sunday, so make sure to hit me up if you want to meet up for beers before, after or during the game. And as always, guys, bye bye.